Ooh, that's funky. That's a good tune right there. Hey, welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Monday. How you doing out there? Let me get organized here. Little different setup, so it doesn't quite look the same, but we are arranging that over there, changing it up. We're gonna make this thing work. So hope you guys are having a good day to start the week there, and awesome time meeting you guys in both Murfreesboro and Winston-Salem over the last couple days, as well as Georgia last week. So shout out to Baron and Nanenko. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. James and Shyla, or it's not Sheila. It looks like Sheila. Shyla. So enjoyed the drum corps shows there, despite the weather delays and all that whatnot. But we are here to talk about the stock market, so we're going to do that. Also, we got Eric up for Wine and Wealth here this week. If you're like Eric, and you're one of our clients, he'll be joining you for Wine and Wealth as we continue to work on this, and I help do a little construction around the house there, the office, I should say. So that'll be Eric joining you there. Our Notes from Jazz, if you're one of our clients or research member, and you had a chance to check that out, I went a little nuts because I was kind of just sitting around at a hotel, and I'm like, all right, what's the good? What's the bad in the stock market? We had a great week last week, of course. Everybody knows that. So what's the good and what's the bad? What do we have to look forward to? Is there anything negative out there? And I went nuts with the data and all the charts and stuff because, well, I was just sitting there eating ice cream, so I figured I'd give you guys the goods there. So be sure to check that out. It is archived in our portal, and you can look at it on your phone and things like that there. Fin tips this week, going to be exciting. Got a lot coming out to you. We're trying some different topics as well, so hope you enjoy that. And Dustin lifting weights, what's up, right? It's just the shirt, I'm telling you. It's not that. Anybody that met me yesterday in Winston-Salem could attest. It's just the shirt and maybe the lighting. Anyways, thanks for checking us out at jazzwealth.com. Marketing pitch here. You guys get the whole pitch there. So let's get started. The S&P. What an interesting finish, right? July finished out the month 9.2% higher. That don't happen often, right? That was the best July on record. I didn't know that until I looked it up there, right? So best July on record there. We obviously started out the month with like 20% year-to-date losses. We finish off the month only down about 14% from highs, which if you're going at a 9% month-over-month gain there, okay, well, it doesn't take long to get back there, but that's not going to happen. I highly doubt that. It's the only 9% July on record. I can only go back to 1945 for this data. So just so you know, if you're taking a look around, well, that's odd, right? The fact that it does that. This massive rally here through the month of July looking good. It is extended, right? So that's okay. It is extended and due for a pause or pullback. We don't need to fall, right? But we do need to take a break. Anything that extends itself from here would cause the market to get oversold, right? Into a level where less and less people would be attracted to buy it. Think of it as house prices, car prices. They got a little extended there. What happened to you? You pulled back. You said, I'm not interested. I'll wait for lower prices. How many of you have said that? I mean, right? Nonetheless, you can't help but look at this and feel a little bit better, which is weird because there's a lot of momentum going into the end of the month. And then we find ourselves here in August, which is typically known as the dog days of summer. That's August, although there's no official dates or anything. But we call it the dog days of summer through August because y'all got a lot more to do there, right? It's the last thing you're thinking of. You got the last of your vacations. You're prepping the kids for school. You got other things to do. What, maybe a leftover camp that the kids have gone to. You got to pick them up and things like that. You might be moving, right? So August tends to be that the stock market is not the priority in people's minds. You're not looking at your 401k all the time and things like that. You know what's going on. Anyway, so when you look at this over here, very much known that August was really odd. Doesn't normally happen. In fact, let me come over here and share something with you. I believe I've got this. Can you see that? In our research site, I looked up, I use the SPY. You can use anything you want, but I said, let me look at the SPY gaining more than 9% in a month. I shrunk it down so you could see it doesn't normally look like that. So this says month. Look back 30 years, not 3 years. And what we found out is that this is incredibly odd. Looking back over the last 30 years, we've had a gain of 9% in one calendar month, a total of 5 times. This does not include July, but it's not available for us to post yet. So that's 5 other times in history. What you notice here is that typically the large gains, 9% or double digits, they tend to happen at the early part of the year or the later part of the year. For a July gain of that much is very odd. So it really lets you know we had an oversold position there. All was good there. As far as performance goes for the month of August, it's tricky. Don't let this fool you. It's only 5 data points. We wanted to look at August as a whole. So I'm going to shrink this out of the way. What are typical August to look like for the S&P? Before I do that, I'm going to go on over to the NASDAQ. I'll dive in here. Everything seems to be working great. NASDAQ also, very strong rally, a touch extended there, so it would be normal to see it pull back. You could argue the same for the Dow. It's very much performing like the S&P right now. And the Russell 2000, we're just happy to see come off of lows. It is a similar rally there, but with a little bit of parachute behind it. So not the greatest if you could be ultra picky in that sense. Something odd today, the VIX actually headed a little bit higher after hours. Or no, during the day and continuing after hours here. A little bit more volatility, people anticipating a pullback. That's all that is there. If you look at the price of oil, remember, you now know, I hope I avoided any losses for you guys. You don't buy that pullback to the 200-day. Oil is not ready for that bounce there. It's down about 4% today. Gas prices obviously heading lower, but we're excited to see that, so nobody's complaining there. Also, bond prices continue to move a little higher, meaning yields moved a little bit lower. That's going to help your home pricing out there if you're hoping that your house does not lose more value or continue to pull back in value, which has been happening. And gold finally giving us a decent bounce off of lows after not participating at all through any of that last bond pullback there. So rather interesting there. Let's take a look here real quick. Since there wasn't a lot that went on today, I wanted to share some data with you. You mind if I do that? August, again, dog days of the summer. You don't force an August. You force a December. You force a January, meaning if you have something to do, roll over a 401k, all the cash is in there and it's January, go for it, right? Put it all to work. Be aggressive if that fits your profile. You don't force a summertime trade, you don't force a summertime scalp, you don't force a summertime investment. Odds are against you on that one. And in particularly looking at August, what happens is it kind of ranks in the middle of performance. It's not great. It's not bad. The average performance, the average gain is 1.15%. If you just look back the last 10 years, August ranks pretty low, 1.15%. Still positive, right? Well, take an average positive gain there, but it kind of ranks in the middle. And so I was like, all right, well, what's to learn from that? What could I share with you that teaches you something? The reason that August ranks in the middle is because all the sectors spread apart, right? Normally, you have a stock market rally. Basically, everything has to participate, not so much industrials and other things like that, materials and things, but basically everything has to be moving higher to get a rally. Well, if you look over here at August, let's try to get this a little bit tighter for you. I like a little clean chart. Here is the average sector performance by sector, right? So I put it there, right? So instead of just saying, the stock market goes up 1.15% and it's an average and whatever happens, happens. No, here's the average sector performance. You can see pretty clearly, even if you don't know what's on the screen, that there's a split, right? There's a little dissection between the gainers and the losers. That's what's holding the market back. We don't have broad participation in everything. We have tech that tends to have a decent August. It is the best performer through the month of August historically, looking back the last 10 years anyways. And then you have very little help from the other areas of the stock market. You know now, healthcare, that's the second biggest sector in the stock market right now, and financials, third biggest sector. Well, we don't have a lot of participation from the big boys in the S&P. Tech does all the heavy lifting, but it's not enough to give us anything substantial over August. We obviously hope this August continues the momentum and maybe financials do participate. I think they will. Healthcare as well. But if you see a dog days of summer, sloppy, choppy type August, now you look at that and say, well, historically, it is calm. Volume's already dropped off today. You could see the volume today was quite low compared to average there, and it will likely stay that way. that's okay, right? No big deal there. So I wanted to have something to share with you as we go along looking at the various charts here today. That does look a little blurry to me, you know. I buy that if you were whoever was commenting on that. That could just be a little adjustment. It's on a whole different computer here today. We're in a different spot, obviously. So, yeah, it's okay. I understand that. Let's move on. I don't have a whole lot more for you. What I'd like to do is go on into stocks in the news. So if we take a look at some of those today, just a little bit cut off. So I will start at the top. What would be the top? Boeing. Come on, man. Boeing finally getting something done there. The FAA says, you know what? We looked into it. Everything's good. You can continue to start producing and delivering the 787 Dreamliner there. I think they were making 13 a month. That might be a little low. But they're obviously excited to do that. That's the first real pop in Boeing in a while. Granted, we've led up to it, but that's a big move for Boeing. You don't normally see that there. So posting a 6% gain on the day, that stock is in the news. And finally, maybe, just, you know, maybe we can put some of this stuff behind us for what's going on there. Speaking of wanting to put stuff behind them, Alibaba, they should be listed on a Hong Kong Stock Exchange by the end of the year. I would bet, if I had to, that it will be before the end of the year because the SEC has them on a potential delisting list. I do not think that happens myself. I think China would have to continue to try to be a little elusive with some of their data there. I don't think they're going to make good on what the SEC is asking for them, but I don't think the SEC delists them. Nonetheless, Alibaba said, we are going to just be safe, go list on a Hong Kong Stock Exchange. By the way, if you happen to own Alibaba shares and it does move down the delisting path, you could convert them to Hong Kong ADRs. So no need for the question of, if I own Alibaba and they do become delisted, that's just delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. That doesn't mean they're poof, gone, and you've lost all your shares. So no need to worry about that. We can let the news develop a little bit. 3M, remember a while ago I told you about how 3M was being sued by the government for the ear plugs, right? These really expensive pieces of ear foam that they put in there to protect soldiers, obviously from shooting their guns and whatnot. Well, Barron's actually said over the weekend that despite their immunity because of being a government contractor, there are still many avenues for the government, for them to go after them for the problems that they've been having, and I would agree. I would agree with that as well. What else do we have here? There's actually quite a few names that have news on the day, but they're just not any meaningful moves. Like here's Amgen here. Wall Street Journal went into detail if you're curious about their current ongoing argument, frustrations, dispute with the IRS in terms of tax that they owe was like $10.7 billion. That was a good update on that, right? It's not looking good for Amgen. It's down a little bit, but not really a big deal. Also put NIO on the list because you saw some action there today, up 2.25%. NIO says, hey, we're actually delivering more vehicles. And you know how in the States we have this where there'll be like one day where Toyota reports and Ford reports and General Motors, and we see the deliveries of vehicles. It's the same thing. This just happened to happen over in China there. 27% increase, 10,052 vehicles. And by the way, I'm going to throw in... There you go. I'm going to throw in Li Auto as well because they also had the data and they're a publicly traded company over here in the States there. They were a little bit lower, but what's interesting, I don't know if you've seen their SUV. That's about $70,000 US dollars, but it's not bad looking SUV for Li Auto there. They said demand is off the charts for them. It's up like 40% just in the last quarter. So I don't know. I don't think their initial plans have them delivering over here in the States, but that's not bad looking. I've seen worse with Rivian and some of these others. Hey, tomorrow we've got earnings from Caterpillar, which is already extended there. JetBlue, expect to hear some stuff about their recent merger since they're the ones that did win the deal with Spirit. Maybe they'll clean up Spirit a little bit. I don't know. You got Uber reporting as well. They miss more often than, or the stock moves lower more often than it does move higher on earnings. But focus is going to be more like PayPal. So PayPal's on a bit of a weak streak as well. So is Starbucks. Starbucks is down 6 of the last 8 on earnings. So we've seen that this earnings season now. Don't let those stats scare you into doing something silly. We've seen company's been down 7 of the last 8, and all of a sudden, 10% gain, right? So there's a different mindset. I should say there's a different sentiment out there about the stock market. It's no longer doom and gloom. It's a little bit of optimism with caution, but a little bit of optimism, right? So careful there. Any little bit of good news could get people excited about what's going on there. So that's actually all I got for you, right? I wanted to have something interesting, but I did share that with you. The rest of the market, fairly quiet. There's a lot of jello moving on the plate, as they say. But if you have questions, I am happy to help you there and see what we can do. Yeah, you got it. We are standing back up. This desk right here is going to be raised, and so we cleared it all off. We're going to rebuild it there, and I like it too. I don't like sitting, you know? I don't like sitting, although this needs to go up just a little bit. I'm a bit picky there. We will figure it out. Harry, your daily Tesla motivation. There you go. I love it. Hey, just buy whatever company you have high conviction in. Who cares what people tell you? Well, so I'm with you on that one, but sometimes people do more research than you might do. You might have high conviction in, PayPal, for example, but maybe there's some research. Maybe there's something additional there that people were digging into. I'm all for it when someone has an opinion. It's like, all right, it's like guessing a sports game, like who's going to win. I don't know. You know what I mean? But you never know when you might find a little more data, a little more underlying research. I like that stuff. Yeah, I like it. The bond market is saying inflation has been defeated. That is correct. I actually put in, so in the notes from Jazz, we actually talked about the CPI number and the core CPI number. We know that consumer price index is affected by energy, but what is the core consumer price index? What is that affected by? What's the biggest weight on that, actually? So we went through to see how could we find the biggest weighting and see what that industry is doing right now and find out if that's a hint as to what inflation is going to do. And turns out it was a big hint, so we'll see. T says, man, not many ETFs track the NASDAQ besides the Qs with high expense ratio. What do you think about VUG for growth in someone in their 30s? I would agree that with the Qs, you can build a group of ETFs that would actually correlate right along with the NASDAQ. That you can do. That's a little tricky, but you can do that. We like doing things like that. But if you're going for straight NASDAQ replication there, you got the Qs, and it's not bad, I saw China said they'll take military action if Pelosi visits Taiwan. Did you think she was going to back down? Now, that part I like about that lady. I'll give her some credit because I've been beating up on her a little bit. I like that. No, the U.S. is going to visit. I don't know if she changed it since I last read this, but the U.S. is going to visit Taiwan. You sure it's Nancy Pelosi, but she's tough, right? So for all her faults that I find with the way the government allows her to trade stocks, you get over there, girl. You go walking through Taiwan, you wave and take them pictures. Don't let people tell you what to do. See, I said. Cody's giving me the angry face. You know what? When they do good, I want to celebrate that. I may not, be on the same page all the time, but you know what I mean? Get yourself in there. That's what we should do. Okay, there you go. Throw the political grenade into the chat section there and let you guys have a good time with it. Hey, George says, how about overlap the S&P chart from January 1st, August 1st? For the past 20 or 40 years, see if these monthly average returns show a pattern. They actually do show a pattern. I've done that in the past, but what we don't do is overlap every single year. What we do is we do a ratio chart, and we actually look for which years are most highly correlated to a year like this year. And so then we actually only have to overlay 2 charts. That's the more geeky analytic way to do it. But could you? Sure. Yeah, you could overlay all those and just try to read through the spaghetti. It just is a little bit messy the further back you go. So do a ratio chart instead, and then sort by correlation and actually just pop out those, and you'll have a nice, much prettier picture. And I'll give you a hint. Since 1945, there are 8 years that actually are most correlated within 0.85% of this year so far. That could change, but as just so far. Yeah. How would the impact be on the markets if a visit does happen in Taiwan? Yeah, that doesn't, that's not a market mover, right? We're not going anywhere with what happened. We're not going to fight China. You know, there's going to be rumblings, and you know, oh, we'll have to fight back this way or that way. And it's not good, but it's not something that the market's going to say, oh my God, now Hertz rental car is worth 20% less because we sent people to Taiwan. I'm not buying that one there. Yeah. There you go. There's the Taiwan comments keeping up there. Yeah, all right. Well, in honor of Swamp Rat's comment there, that's my key, that we've talked about everything. I play a little joke on Eric there, and I got stickiness all over my hands for the day. I will wrap it up there. Thank you for participating here with us today in the modified setup that we have. We will improve. We will continue to do this because it's going to be a little bit. I want to really think that through and do better for you guys there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with us here, of course. Thanks for subscribing, all that stuff. You're supposed to boop the like button, subscribe button. That's what the kids say these days. The kids say boop the like button. I'm up to date with this stuff, you know? Boop the subscribe button, because boop the floof. That's what you're supposed to say. Anyways, yeah, I'm out before I say something else.